Hello, and welcome again to another of my lockdown lessons in art for any of you people who are, like me, locked down and probably, where am I? Where's the... There it is. And probably bored stiff. So, if you want to amuse yourself instead of abusing yourself, then you should have a go at drawing. Art's the answer. Now, you're probably wondering at this stage where Fluffy is. Well, after Fluffy's appalling behaviour yesterday on my 4th day of captivity, I've put him in a cupboard. You're not coming out. You're not coming out. I've locked him in a cupboard because if you saw yesterday's podcast, he ate me and then attacked me. So I think he deserves to be locked up for at least a day. You bastard! That's quite enough of that. I'll let you out if you promise to behave. I'll behave. Will you behave? I'll behave. I don't believe you. It's true, you bastard. Anyway, enough of this silly nonsense. Right, so down to the serious business of art and spending time being creative. So what I'm going to do today is something that anybody can draw. Something you don't need any artistic ability to do this one. It's a bit of a glorified doodle. So anybody can do it. All you need is a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen or a biro or anything to draw with. And I shall demonstrate anon. That's a good word. You bastard! Shut up! I'm sitting outside because it's a bit cloudy, but it's on and off nice. Oh, it's Flophilia, whatever her name was. Okay, shut up. Right, so today we're going to be doing automatic drawing, which is very much like doodling. So basically it's to free up your imagination. So you're drawing without any preconceptions of ideas whatsoever. Lost. So anyway, you can use whatever you like to draw with. I'm going to use one of these. What is it? A uni pin fine line, whatever that is. So basically, just start. You just draw a line. You don't have any idea of what you're going to draw. It's abstract, probably. So you draw a line like that, okay? And then you can draw another line. You can turn it round. You can draw another line. And then you just start working into it, working into the lines that you've drawn. And just mucking about, really. So you can be flowery, you can be structural, you can be geometric. You can have little hearts bursting if you happen to be in love at the moment. How lovely for you. So basically the idea is to just do automatic drawing. So you're not pre-thinking this at all. You're just going with the rhythm of whatever you've already done. Now, apparently, two of my very, very, very famous comic book artists used to use this technique a lot to free up their imagination. Because if you've done a lot of comics, which I have, you do tend to get into a bit of a rut with your style, and you tend to repeat yourself. It's difficult not to, especially if you're fighting deadlines all the time. Yeah, and as I was saying, two of my very favourite comic book artists, Jack Kirby and Moebius, the French artist Moebius, who you may know, who did these incredibly imaginative structures. And, Jack Kirby obviously was probably the most imaginative creator in the whole of comics, as he's invented just about all of the Marvel characters that you know, with the sole exception of Spider-Man. He's more or less created the Marvel universe as we know it, single-handedly. And his drawings were always fabulously dynamic and
Just fantastic. And apparently he used to, I saw an interview with somebody who used to know him when they were much, much younger. And Jack Kirby used to allow them to stand and look over his shoulder while he drew his comic strips, Fantastic Four, Captain America, X-Men, whatever. And this guy said it was amazing. He would start in the top right-hand corner and just work his way down to the bottom left-hand corner and fill in the entire scenario. I'll post up a couple of examples. It sounds impossible. You have to have a really certain, specific kind of mind for that. It's almost autistic, like that Korean guy whose name I don't know, but Gio, if you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, look, a heart has appeared. I will make that a little heart. That's for my good friend Paula, who I spoke to this morning. She's marooned in England, where they're still prevaricating about whether to shut everything down, which is what they should do. And she said that people in Brighton, where she's living, are going crazy in supermarkets. There's fights breaking out in supermarkets. She had an avocado snatched out of her hand by somebody, and it's all incredibly crap and uncivilized. Whereas here in Spain, in Mallorca, it's all pretty much the same, except for the restaurants and bars shut. I mean, you go to the supermarket. There's a big one down the road here. And there's nobody fighting, there's nobody, grabbing fruit out of your hand. There's no massive queues, there's no queue outside. The only difference I could see is that you have to stand 3 feet apart while you're waiting to pay. And that's pretty much it. The shelves are all stocked, there's plenty of toilet rolls, if that's your thing. It's all very civilized. The only problem with the main problem with being shut down, locked down like this is the boredom, because you've got a whole day, in theory, in your flat, house, whatever. So how do you fill your time? Which is why I'm doing these little art exercises, because art... Oh, this is turning into a bit of a bunny rabbit. Should I go for that, or No, I'll go for it. I'll make it a little bunny rabbit. Okay, so I'm trying not to preconceive any of this. I'm just going with what suggests itself from the lines as they appear, right? So for some reason we've got a bunny rabbit there. Now, because I'm a cartoonist, I see cartoons in shapes, it's just a natural thing as part of my job, I suppose. But I'm trying to avoid that, he says, drawing a bunny rabbit. All right, there you go. Well, that's the last preconceived bit I'm going to try and do. So, all right, to avoid that, I'm going to turn it round. Concentrate on this side. Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So anyway, that's the gist of it. Who's trying to ring me? Now this I started off with the cube in the centre, and it was all blobby and amorphous, and then I decided to add a cat for some reason. There's another one somewhere. Hang on. Yes, that was one that I started, and you can do this while you're having a coffee, if you're allowed to have a coffee these days. I mean, in a cafe. You can have a coffee at home. I don't think they've banned that yet. So anyway, that's basically the gist of it. So if you think that's useful, have a go. It's fun. Bye. See you tomorrow on day 6 of lockdown. Lockdown. It's good for the soul, bad for the relationships, probably.